Shabbat Shalom. Hi, Shabbat Shalom. Rabbi Liana Moore. Hi, Orly. Nice to meet you too. How wonderful. Who's your brother? Okay. Is he somebody we know? Oh, well, I'm glad you're here. Welcome. I'm on mic. Stephanie's letting me in. But you'll do it on the mic performance.
Win-lose situation. Yes. How many?
You mean that you'll go to?
Yeah, well,
At night or in the morning?
I don't know, just in general.
It's always the wire. This is your gentle folk worship. Down the aisle. You know what last time, that's going to get everybody sitting down, right? Turn around, wave to everybody in YouTube land. You're missing Rose Amazing. Holla, you should be here. Just saying. If you're at home, we're using Mishkan Tefillah. We are so grateful to all of our leaders this evening and to everybody that brought from their kitchen and from their heart this evening, and especially grateful to Stephanie. Where is she? Where's Stephanie? There she is. To Stephanie Chaikin for, it was you? You can't hear me? Oh, this is, maybe it's the hair? Okay. Now, better? Okay. So, thank you. I don't know. You'll gesticulate wildly if it moves out of the wrong place. Thank you. So, yeah, Stephanie, could you grab a siddur and offer, Glenn's got one for you. Okay. And offer us one of the readings on page 3, whichever one of the two are speaking to your heart. Page 3. Do you need glasses?
O source of light and truth, creator of the eternal law of goodness, help us to find knowledge by which to live. Lead us to take the words we shall speak into our hearts and our lives. Bless all who enter the sanctuary in need, all who bring the offerings of their hearts. May our worship lead us to acts of kindness, peace, and love.
Amen. Light the candles. Yes, you can do that. And they are finicky, as you can see. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech ha'olam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik shel Shabbat.
Amen.
Thank you. Stephanie is also our chair of adult ed, so thank you for that gift of the heart as well. Let's bring in Shabbos with a little sweetness on page 5. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Borei peri hagafen. Give me an amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu b'shabbat kodsho be'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu zikaron l'maaseh v'reishit Ki hu yom techila lemikra kodesh zecher litziat Mitzrayim Ki vanu v'acharta ve'otanu kidashta mikol hamim v'shabbat kodshecha Be'ahava uvratzon hinchaltanu Baruch atah Adonai Mekadesh HaShabbat. Give me an amen.
Amen.
L'chaim. All right. So we have brought in Shabbat with Kiddush. I'm pretty sure that everybody's got at least one person in this room, if not more, that they could use a refresher on names. So this is a cross the aisle kind of moment. Introduce yourself to somebody who you either just met tonight or you haven't met yet. I don't know, tell them your astrological sign, something about one another, welcome each other, and make a new friend. That's the idea. Everybody should leave tonight having made at least one new friend. And we can turn to page 24 and greet our better angels, those Malachei Hasharet. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei Hamlachim. HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Page 24. Boachem l'shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei Hamlachim. HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Third stanza. Barhuni l'shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei Hamlachim. HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Zetchem l'shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei Hamlachim. HaKadosh Baruch Hu. HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So I just want to invite everybody to take a good, deep, cleansing, breathing in Shabbat breath, breathing out that blasted week. Feel your feet on the ground, the weight of your body in your chair. Just make sure you're scanning where you might carry some tension. Breathe it out. The week is over. This prayer, Ana B'choach, Gedulat Yamincha, says, oh, untie our knots, please. We get so knotted up so that things just don't flow properly. With your strength, Holy One of Blessing, flow through us. Expansiveness of Shabbat, let it make room. Ana B'choach, Gedulat Yamincha Tatir Yitzura, Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto, Le'olam Va'ed. Page 16, a psalm, a song. We sing praise to life itself. Zamru l'Adonai bechinor, bechinor v'kol zimra, behatzotzrot v'kol shofar. Harim lifnei hamelech Adonai, Yiram hayam umlo, Tevel veyoshveva, Neharot imcha uchav yachad, Harim yiranenu, Lifnei Adonai kiva, Lishpot haaretz, Yishpot tevel betzedek, Vehamim b'mesharim, Yiram hayam umlo, Tevel veyoshveva, Neharot imcha uchav yachad, Harim yiranenu. This is our joy mashup. I invite you to put your finger in page 44, but turn to page 13, bottom paragraph. Yismechu hashamayim, Yismechu hashamayim, Yismechu hashamayim, v'tagel haaretz. Sing that with me.
Yismechu hashamayim, hashamayim,
Yismechu hashamayim,
hashamayim,
Yismechu hashamayim,
v'tagel haaretz. Yiram hayam, Yiram hayam, Yiram hayam umelo, Yiram hayam, Yiram hayam, Yiram hayam umelon.
44. I'm already there.
Yismechu v'malachutecha, shomre, shomre, shomre Shabbat, v'koret oneg Shabbat. Yismechu v'malachutecha, shomre, shomre, shomre Shabbat, v'koret oneg Shabbat.
Mekadeshe, Mekadeshe Shavi Shabbat, Kulam Yisbehu, Vayitangu Metuvecha Shabbat. To the top.
Yismechu v'malachutecha, shomre, shomre, shomre Shabbat,
V'korei oneg Shabbat. Yismechu v'malachutecha, shomre, shomre, shomre Shabbat. V'korei oneg Shabbat. V'hashvihi ratzita bo, v'titzalo v'kidashto Shabbat. Chemdad yamim oto karata Shabbat. Yismechu v'malachutecha, shomre, shomre, shomre Shabbat. V'korei oneg Shabbat.
Yismechu v'malachutecha, shomre, shomre, shomre Shabbat, v'korei oneg Shabbat. L'maaseh v'reishit Shabbat Zecher L'maaseh v'reishit Shabbat Yismechu v'malachutecha Shomrei, Shomrei, Shomrei Shabbat V'korei Oneg Shabbat Yismechu v'malachutecha Shomrei, Shomrei, Shomrei Shabbat. Call it a delight. V'korei Oneg Shabbat. I invite us to turn to page 20 for the Chadodi. First, second, fifth, and ninth stanzas. Dancing optional. Lechadodi lekhat kala yadadai 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 bnei Shabbat nekabela lechadodi lekhat kala yadadai 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 bnei Shabbat nekabela Shamor v'zachor b'dibor echad Hishmiyanu el hamyuchad Adonai echad Ushemo echad L'shem ol tiferet v'let hilah Lechadodi lekhat kala yadadai 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 Bnei Shabbat nekabela Lechadodi lekhat kala yadadai 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 Bnei Shabbat nekabela Likrat Shabbat lechu v'nelcha Ki hi mekor habracha Mirosh mikedem nesucha Sof ma'aseh b'machshava tila Lechadodi likrat kala yadadai 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 Bnei Shabbat nekabela Lechadodi likrat kala yadadai 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 Bnei Shabbat nekabela Fifth stanza Hitorari Kiva orech kumi ori uri shidaberi kevod Adonai alai lech nigla lechadodi lekhat kala yadadai 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 Bnei Shabbat nekabela Lechadodi lekhat kala yadadai 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 Bnei Shabbat nekabela. Please rise, face the door. Ninth stanza. Boi v'shalom ateret bala gam besimcha uvetzola toch emunei am segula boi chala lechadodi lekhat kala yadadai 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 Bnei Shabbat nekabela lechadodi lekhat kala yadadai 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 Bnei Shabbat nekabela. Invite us to remain standing for the Baruch Hu. Yain, 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 yain. Yai nai 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 nai. Yai nai 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 nai. Baruchu et Adonai HaMevorach.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Leolam Vaed.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Leolam Vaed.
Yai da 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 da.
I hope we have enough. Please be seated. Pass them around. Raise your hand if you don't have one. Sacred words, even the evenings. Wisdom opens gates locked around our hearts. Share bidvaro ma'ariv aravim. Bechochma poteach she'arim. Evening, the evening, the frayed edges of our lives.
Ma'ariv Aravim.
Amen. Understanding alters with times, changing seasons, cycles divine. Uvit v'na mishanei itim, umachalif et hazmanim. Evening, the evening, the frayed edges of our lives. Maharim, Aravim, Amen. Paint diamonds on the canvas called sky. Soothe our souls with a lilting lullaby. Umesaderet hakochavim b'mishmorotehem b'rakia kirtzono. Evening, the frayed edges of our lives. Maharim,
Aravim.
Amen. Rolling into the night. Rolling away the light. Golel or mipnei hoshech, vehoshech mipnei or. Evening, the evening, the frayed edges of our lives. Maharim, Aravim, Amen. Spirit of the night, we bless your name. Eternal light, eternal flame. El Hai v'Kayam Tamid Yimloch Aleinu Leolam Va'ed. Evening, the evening, the frayed edges of our lives. Mariv, Aravim, loved, loved, loved by an unending love, an unending love. We are loved, loved, loved by unending love, an unending love. We're embraced by arms that find us, even when we are hidden from ourselves. We are touched by fingers that soothe us, even when we're too proud for soothing. We are counseled by voices that guide us, even when we're too embittered to hear. We are loved, loved, loved by an unending love, an unending love. We are loved, loved, loved by an unending love, an unending love. We're supported by hands that uplift us, even in the midst of a fall. We are urged on by eyes that meet us, even when we're too weak for meeting. We are loved, 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 loved by an unending love, an unending love. We are loved, loved, loved by an unending love, an unending love. Embraced, touched, soothed, and counseled. Ours are the arms, the fingers, the voices. Ours are the hands, the eyes, the smiles. We are loved by an unending love. We are loved, loved, loved by an unending love, an unending love. We are loved, 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 loved by an unending love, an unending love. Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael. Page 34 for the Shema. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ושכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובישעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם. Amen.
Let's read together in the English on page 37. Love your God with every heartbeat, with every breath, with every conscious act. Keep in mind the words I command you today. Teach them to your children. Talk about them at work, whether you're tired or you're rested. Let them guide the work of your hands. Keep them in the forefront of your vision. Do not leave them at the doorway of your house or outside your gate. They're reminders to do all of my mitzvot, so that you can be holy for God. I am Adonai, your God. I led you out of Egypt to become your God. I am Adonai, your God. And all this we hold to be true and trustworthy for us. And they accepted your sovereignty. Moses, Miriam, and all Israel sang to you together, lifting their voices joyously as we do now on page 40. Micha Mocha, who is like you? Who could possibly be like you?
Yadada 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 Mihi kamocha ba'elim Adonai, Mihi kamocha nehadar b'kodesh, Norati Lord Osefel, Norati Lord Osefel, Mahalechutecha Rahu Vanecha, Bokeh Ayam Lifnei Moshe Miriam, Zeli Zeli Anu ve'amru, Adonai Imlok le'olam va'ed. Yadada 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 ונאמר כי פרנאי את יעקב וגאלו מיה חזק ממנו ברוך אתה אדוני גאל ישראל.
Amen. Ben, I'm going to ask you to hand these out when it's time, okay? 'Cause I'm going to do Leadership Shabbat now. So ever since we left Egypt, and throughout our 40 years of wandering in the biblical desert, Israelites, no, not yet, I'll tell you when. It's the first rule. They'll start reading before it's time. Thank you. Israelites, and now known as Jews, we have been known to complain. I actually find this really interesting, and I just happened to think about this today because there isn't really that much complaining recorded when we were slaves. All the complaining seemed to start when we were free, and I think that that's a really interesting thing to think about. But that's a sermon for another night, actually. We complained about how the food was better in Egypt. We reminisced about how everything was better in Egypt, the unsatisfying conditions in the desert. And like our ancestors, we, moderns, are also very good at noticing what is wrong without always properly acknowledging and thanking what is going right. It's almost as if fetching is our sacred birthright. You might even say it's our job, the beginning of critical thinking even. And we might say that tonight is a night that we pause and acknowledge what is very good and very right with Temple Beth-El. Because there's an awful lot that is good and that is right. And it's all because of the people that we are honoring this evening. And we know, like Moses, there is no going back. There is only going forward. And like our biblical ancestors, we might say also that God leads us in a pillar of cloud, and sometimes the path forward at Temple Beth-El is about as foggy as a cloud. Still, we will, step by step, move closer to that promised land each day. Now, our biblical leaders, namely the priests, they get a lot of honor, but they also have to do some pretty messy work. But with all that animal sacrifice they perform, it's not all that different for synagogue leaders. You, our leaders, you are our high priests. You are creating the environment and the community in which all of us can recalibrate our spiritual equanimity. And in the process, like in the Bible, it's easy to get a little schmutzed up. Schmutz is a technical word for dirt. Maybe we can get a little schmutzed up from all of the complaining that we're so good at. Maybe we can get a little schmutzed up from all of the details that it takes. But I love that the Torah puts it right out there, that it's not so easy for Moses and for Aaron either. The Torah doesn't make it be all about divine connection and communing with holiness and the perks of the job Aaron and Moses have to do. Aaron, too, he has to take time for performing these rituals of the high priest by removing his special clothing, like pretty schmutzy from all of the blood and the work. And he, too, has to take Shabbat off to calibrate. He, too, has to take time to reconnect to his sacred center, as do you. He and Moses and you, our leaders, you're the people involved with creating this mysterious formula and doing the most sacred work of the community. And I know that in the thick of a board meeting or some Google spreadsheet, it doesn't feel like holy work. But believe me, it's the holiest work there is. Don't ever doubt it for a moment. The Temple Beth-El is nothing but for you and your leadership. What you have offered and what you have accomplished and what is still yet to be. Every email and phone call, every encouraging invitation, every idea and executive decision, every meeting and hour spent on temple stuff. And so while synagogue leadership isn't all just accolades and celebration, did I mention Jews like to complain? We celebrate you tonight. I've also got some good news. Being a leader doesn't mean you have to do everything. A leader inspires, sometimes cajoles, sometimes twists a couple of arms, getting people to come along the journey. Hint, start training a successor. Remember, giving the others an opportunity to share the responsibility and the creative process is how we continue to thrive. And I have another tip from the Torah. A leader doesn't look backwards, pining for and recreating the past, like Caleb and Joshua, who were the next generation after Moses and Aaron, who saw the challenges ahead as a good thing. A leader sees the accomplishments of the past as celebrations for the present and opportunities for the future. A leader's vision is forward-facing. Their eyes are on honoring the past, as we would keep an eye on our rear-view mirror when we're driving, all while crafting a vision of the future, sharing that vision, and delighting in each little step in making that vision a reality. So now, Ben, if you could pass out because we're all going to be offering blessings to one another. I hope there's enough. There may need to be some sharing involved. See, I've been so optimistic the last couple of weeks. I stopped being so optimistic, and then we get this marvelous turnout.
From the time of the Babylonian exile over 25 centuries ago until this very day, the synagogue has been a spiritual home of the Jewish people. It's been a house of study to attend and to bring our children for the learning of Torah. It's been a house of gathering to consecrate and celebrate the most special moments of our lives. It's been a house of prayer to which we could bring the joy of an overflowing cup for blessings and for the gloom of a death-darkened door for renewal of faith. First, those of us who are not yet in leadership need to thank you. So please, I'm going to ask anyone here who is not in a position of communal leadership at Temple Beth-El to please rise and read to our leaders this blessing. Ready, all together. Holy One of blessing, bestow your blessing on these leaders who have been elected to serve our congregation. Instill them with the insight and understanding, perseverance as well as patience. Inspire them to work together in pursuit of our community's greatest aspirations, even as they watch over its daily needs. We are thankful for the dedication and giving spirit that bring these men and women before you, prepared to devote their energies to your service and to the benefit of us all. Grant success to their endeavors and help them to lead us in the pursuit of our sacred mission. So go ahead and you can sit down and thank you. And so now, if you are retiring or have just recently retired from the board or as a committee chair, I'm going to ask you to rise. I think they just sort of decided to take the night off. We honor them anyway. Let's read this blessing to them nonetheless. Bestow your blessings on these leaders of our community as they make way for the seeds they have sown to blossom into new flowers and bear fruit. May they take pride in their tenure, even as they continue to contribute to our community now differently as elders. May they know the gratitude we have for them and the energy, time, and spirit they have volunteered for the sake of this community, the Jewish people, for God, and for their own spiritual well-being. And I want to acknowledge our outgoing trustees who we offered that blessing to. They would be Joel Kaminer, Jeff Goodman, Craig Linder, who's staying on as Youth Education Committee Chair, by the way, Peter Retzlaff, Robin Schrutz, and Jeff Tartikoff. Who else stepped down as leaders? Mike Novak. They'll be back. Now. What's that? Mike Schuckman. Yes, absolutely, Mike Schuckman. Anybody else? They'll forgive our omission, but I think we got everybody. Now, if you are beginning or continuing your tenure as a board member, a trustee, or a committee chair, could I ask you please to rise as we offer this blessing? Let's read it to them together. Bestow your blessing on these leaders who have been elected to serve our congregation. Instill in them with insight and understanding, perseverance as well as patience. Inspire them to work together in pursuit of our community's greatest aspirations, even as they watch over its daily needs. Oh God, we are thankful for the dedication and the giving spirit that these men and women before you prepared to devote their energies to your service and to the benefit of us all. Grant success to their endeavors and help them to lead us in the pursuit of our sacred mission. As we invoke upon all of you the ancient blessings of our tradition. And so we're going to read together the end. As those who came before us provided a place of learning, of praying, and of caring in the midst of our people, so do we shoulder with a whole heart and responsibility. All together, Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech HaOlam Asher Kidshanu B'mitzvotav Vitzivanu La'asok B'tzorchei Tzibur. Blessed are you, eternal our God, sovereign of all time and space, who has made us holy through mitzvot and commanded us to involve ourselves with the needs of the community. And to these blessings, we want to thank those of you who are here, as well as those of you who are not here. Our officers, Philip Gary, who's VP of Religious Practices, Finance and Administration, Karen Seaman-Pinn, thank you, VP of Social Action, Adult and Youth Education, Nancy Samble, VP of Membership, Fundraising and Publicity, Tom Rosensweet, Acting President and VP of Facilities, Kadima and Cemetery, Chris Eig, our Treasurer, Suzanne Goldstein-Smith, our Financial Secretary, Deborah Lipp, our Recording Secretary, and Erwin Rosen, our illustrious past President. We also want to acknowledge Faith Ann Brown and Tess Hanoch Shao, Craig and Michelle Linder, Laura Katzev, Kristen Michelson, Aaron Brotman, Larry Gutterman, Stephanie Chaikin, Seth Lubin, Beth Achenbach, Phil Revo, for all of their inspiration, their creativity, their bandwidth, their time, their love, their dedication, their wisdom, their guidance. Thank you. As we close with this very most ancient words of blessing, we say, Yivarechecha Adonai ve'yishmerecha. May God bless you and watch over you. Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'chuneka. May God's light shine on you and be gracious to you. Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'yasem v'cha shalom. May you feel God's presence within you. May God lift up God's face before you and grant you peace. Our gratitude is with you. Thank you. Thank you. So we're going to continue with the service on page 43 as the lead into the Amidah.
Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu Le'enu L'shalom V'hamidenu L'shomrenu L'chaim Ufros alenu Su'ul את שלומך,
Last time.
השכיבנו,
And
Adonai Eloheinu. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms.
invite you to rise for the prayer of the Amidah on page 46. Yananai, 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 Adonai. Yananai, 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 Svatai Tifta. Yananai, 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 Ufi Yagid. Ufi Yagid Tehilatecha. Yananai, 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 Adonai. Yananai, 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 Svatai Tiftach. Yananai, 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 Ufi Yagid. Ufi Yagid Tehilatecha. 48. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, וקונה הכל, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה, מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן. ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם בעזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי הכל מטרה להושיע. מוריד הטל, מחכה חיים בחסד, מחיי מתים ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו. לישני יפה, מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומי דומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה לחיות מתים. ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי המתים. 52. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהלוך הסלע. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש. I invite you to finish your Amidah prayer privately, either by using the text between pages 54 and 60 or the text of your heart, and feel free to take a seat when you are finished. מודיעים אנחנו לך שאתה אדוני אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו. שלום רב, על ישראל, תשים לעולם כי אתה המלך אדון הקודש. We meet back together at the bottom of page 62. Say shalom bimroma, say shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel, ve'imru Oh, say shalom bimroma, yasi shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel, ve'imru amen. Yam pam pam pam, yararam pam pam, yararai rai 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 rai, yararai na 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 na, na 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 na, yararai na na, yararai na 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 na, yararai na 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 na, na 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 na, yararai na na, yararai na 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 na. Oh, say shalom bimroma, say shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel, ve'imru pause. Sometimes things go a little out of sequence, but we always pause now for prayers for healing. There are a lot of people that are really hurting, need prayers for body, spirit, psyche, spirit, relationship, self. So we're going to turn to page 253, 253, middle of the page, and offer these words. Create the image of those people you're holding in prayer. Send those images of them healed and whole out and up.
Mi sheberach avotenu mikol habracha Limotenu, may the source of strength, who blessed the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen.
This week we're especially holding in our hearts Millie Rottenberg, Howard Simon, Gloria Berkowitz, Gittel Bat Hana,
Bernice Portney, Beryl ben Sima v'Shmuel Leib, Steve Gellis, Sholem Avram ben Golda v'Yeshayahu, Michael Rosenblum, Harav Miriam Yael Chaya bat Sarah v'Yitzchak, Maxwell Zwain, Menachem Mendel ben Yehuditu Michael, Dr. Isokin Osamwota, Alan Mentha, Alon ben Yael Perel, Eric Rivchin, Rhoda Alaribe, Luke Wright, Kendall Chaya Rafaela bat Yehudit Sharon, Kathy Gale, Dolores McKell, and to these names we add
cookie stem. Mi sheberach imotenu mekor habracha lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shelema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
may they know wholeness and healing speedily, uneventfully, and with great compassion and care. So, not going to spend a whole lot of time on this, but I promised that every week during the month of Elul, I was going to bring in a story for Rosh Hashanah. And so I have one. I thought we'd read it. Just take it home, think about it. It's got a lot, it's arcane, it's mysterious, it's very old. It's got images that we're not going to relate to at all. But I'd like to read it and think past the images and what it's trying to tell us about Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur coming up. I know I don't have enough, so I'm going to pass these out and ask people to share. And I know we've been calling people up to read, but I want to do this relatively quickly because it's getting kind of late, and this is really fulfilling a promise that I made. So this comes from the Talmud, which is, it's a solid 1,600 years old. Hang on, you guys have to share. Is that okay? Can you guys share? Good. Can you guys share? Well, let's see how many I have left. Oh, I do. I have one more left, so I'm going to give one to you. Oh, I'm sorry. All right. So, here you go. All right. So, I'm going to read this out loud, and I'm going to pause to do a little cultural translation. So these guys, these are all rabbis of the Talmud, and they're always quoting everybody else. So when you say something in the name of something else, it means you're quoting, you heard this story from somebody who heard it from somebody else. So Rabbi Yochanan says, in the name of Rabbi Yossi, how do we know that the Holy One, blessed be He, says prayers? So this is the rabbis having a conversation talking about how they know that God actually prays, which in and of itself right there is a little bit of a, wait a minute, who does God pray to? What might God pray? So I think this is right out setting us up for something, oh, this is a little unusual, right? Because we don't think about that, right? Often we're said, well, that's where our prayers are supposed to go. So here there's the Talmud stating that God's praying too. Okay. This is the answer. That's a proof text. It says, because we know this, that God prays, because it says, even them I will bring to my holy mountain, and I make them joyful in my house of prayer.
It's not said their prayer, but it said my prayer. So we're quoting God talking about my prayer. Hence you learn, the rabbis, this is how they argue, that the Holy One, blessed be He, says prayers. Not to just be content with this, we want to go a little further, and the rabbis go, oh yeah? Well, what does God pray for? What does He pray? Well, Rabbi Zutra ben Tobi said in the name, somebody else told him in the name of Rav, God prays, may it be my will that my mercy may suppress my anger, and that my mercy may prevail over my other attributes, so that I may deal with my children, that's us, in the attribute of mercy, and on their behalf stop short of the limit of strict justice. Does that sound like anybody we ever know, especially those of us with children? May it be that I not blow up. Yeah? Anybody? Let me breathe before I speak. Let me be my best self. I love this image of God. God wanting to be God's best self, right? For God's children, that's us. It was taught. Rabbi Ishmael ben Elisha says, I remember once I entered into the innermost part of the sanctuary. This would have been the Holy of the Holies of the temple in Jerusalem, right? The place where only the high priest was able to go, and the high priest was only able to go once a year, and that was on afternoon of Yom Kippur. And only that person. So this was taught in the name of a high priest. He entered the innermost part of the sanctuary to offer the incense, and I saw a Katriel Yah. This Katriel is yet another name of God, but it comes from the word from Keter, which is crown. So I saw the crown of Yah, the crown of God. I just saw, just like the tip here, right? The Lord of hosts, seated upon a high and exalted throne. And he said to me, Ishmael, my son, bless me. Here's another incredible image, right? Entering the Holy of the Holies, ready on Yom Kippur to confess your sins on behalf of all Israel, hoping that God might give us God's blessing. He walks into the Holy of Holies, and God summons him over and says, come, Nu, I need a blessing from you. It's pretty incredible, right? This image of God needing us and God wanting our blessing. And I replied, how should I bless God, right? Imagine that, walking up and asking God, we're approaching God and hoping, imagine like an audience with the Queen, may she rest in peace, right? And we're there to offer to honor her, and instead she says, no, you give me a blessing. What do you say? Well, he says, may it be your will that your mercy may suppress your anger, and that your mercy may prevail over all of your other attributes, so that you may deal with your children according to the attribute of mercy, and may on their behalf stop short of the limit of strict justice. And then, if God had a head, we're told that God nodded to me with his head. And here we learn, incidentally, that the blessing of an ordinary person must not be considered lightly in your eyes. And so I invite you to take this story home and chew on it, maybe even talk about it at home. But one of the most amazing things that I think about this story is that it's affirming the power of our prayers, that they mean something. We have no idea where they go and how they work. But this idea that even God is needing our prayers, and that a human being is getting that kind of divine acknowledgement. And for what? That each of us take that pause and think about how it is that we can be our highest and best selves, and that each of us pray that our our kindness, our mercy, our compassion overrides our need for strict justice. And as I said, next week we're going to take a closer look at the Unatana Tokef prayer. And I hope you found this one as curious as I do. This is what we do with stories and texts. We pause and we say, what's weird about this? And getting past the idea of things like the anthropomorphism of God in here, what does this say about what we're doing over these next couple of weeks at Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur? And how is it meant to transform us? Okay, so Ben? I'm going to ask us to turn to page 358 for the psalm for the month of Elul, Achad Sha'alti at the top of the page. 358.
Akasha Alti Adonai Dayakesh Akasha Alti Adonai Adarakesh Shivti Be'ed Adonai Kol Yemei Hayat Lazot ben Noam Adonai B'Yadeh Yachazot ben Noam Adonai B'Yadeh Achat Sha'alti Me'ed Adonai
Invite us to rise for Aleinu. Aleinu l'shabeach l'Adon hakol, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. We may be seated. Who may all created in your image become one in spirit and one in friendship, forever united in your service. Then your realm shall be established on earth, and the word of your prophet fulfilled. Adonai will reign forever and ever. 287. V'ne'emar v'haya Adonai l'melech al kol ha'aretz bayom ha'hu Bayom ha'u Yeh Adonai echad U'shemo echad. We turn to page 294 for the Mourner's Kaddish, in which we honor those who gave us life, those who came before us, who loved us, walked with us, but no longer walk this earth. This week we are observing the yahrzeit of Leah Gutman, Marcel Mordechai Gutman, Eleanor Meyerson, Lionel Parnes, and Saul Smith. Is there anyone else here who is in their year of mourning, who is observing a yahrzeit? I invite you to rise and say their name. So if it is your custom to rise for the Mourner's Kaddish, I invite you to rise now in solidarity with those who are already rising. If it is not, feel free to remain seated. Page 294. Yitgadal ve'yitkadash shemei Rabba.
Amen.
Ve'alma divrach cherutei ve'amlich malchutei. B'chayechon uvyomechon uv'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael. Ba'agala uvizman kariv ve'imru.
Amen.
Yehei shmei Rabba mevorach le'olam ul'almei almaya. V'yitbarach ve'yishtabach ve'yitpa'ar ve'yitromam ve'yitnaseh. V'yit hadar, v'yit aleh, v'yit halal, shmei de kudisha, brechu. Leila min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, da'amiran be'alma v'imru. Amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shamaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru. Amen. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, Imru. Amen.
Ose shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'yimeru. Amen.
Zichronam Nivracha, may their memories always be a blessing. Tom, you up for announcements? Holy announcements? Holy announcements. Okay, so first and most important announcement is Sarah is 4 centimeters dilated. Didn't you tell me that? You're making it up. You're pulling
She
my
has
leg.
powers.
I'm making things up. So Ben's wife, right, is due, please God, very soon. With their first child, she's 4 centimeters dilated.
So does that mean there's going to be a baby before the holidays?
How many weeks is she? It's not that
A
early.
little early. Not that early.
What? We're ready to do High Holidays a cappella. No.
No. Thank you, Rabbi, for this mysterious story and lovely service. Ben, thank you so much for the music.
Hey, Tom, take off your mask. We can't hear you. Thank you.
You can't hear me?
Now we can.
Okay. And Ro, thank you, Ro, for running the live streaming equipment, right?
All right, Ro.
Yeah.
Ro
Thank
on the
you.
tech
I'm
crew.
So happy to have.
Also, Ro made that fabulous
And,
bread.
Yes, the challah, which I hope you all had a taste of before I ate the other 3/4 of it. So thank you so much. And if anyone else would like to join the tech crew to learn how to live stream these services,
Was it hard? No. Was it time consuming?
it was not hard. It was not
From the horse's
time-consuming.
mouth.
There we go. It's simple. They're good, clear instructions, right? Yeah. So this is a big weekend at Temple Beth-El. We have Tot Shabbat tomorrow morning at 10:30 a.m. for singing, dancing, story time, and other age-appropriate activities. We'll be out on the temple lawn. I won't even say weather permitting because the weather will permit.
It will. It's
I'm
going to
sure
be
of it.
gorgeous.
Yeah. Downtown Jersey City tomorrow there's going to be the All About Downtown Street Fair from 12 noon until 8 p.m. Temple Beth-El will have a table. Please drop by and show your TBE spirit and bring some new members with you. Slichot is tomorrow evening right here at 6:30 p.m. in preparation for the High Holy Days. We will watch and discuss the documentary Tell Me Who I Am, a fascinating story about trust, trauma, memory, identity, forgiveness, and reconciliation. Following the film, Cantor Jeff will lead the Slichot prayers as we transition to our white Torah mantles. You can't see them, but behind that curtain are blue Torah mantles. We bring out the white ones for the holidays. Religious school continues this Sunday, September 18th at 9:30 a.m. And the next, I hope you were here, most of us made it on time to enjoy the wine and cheese pre-neg. Thank you very much, Stephanie, I think you brought food, and Karen brought food. Thank you so much. And again, Ro for the wonderful challah. The next wine and cheese pre-neg will be Friday night, October 21st, 7:15 p.m. Now this is the one the president loves to say. Teruma pledges were due July 1st. Teruma is our, if you don't know, is our free will dues system. So please, if you're not a member, go to the temple website, join, make a Teruma pledge. We have a suggested amount to give, but we ask you please to give what you can to support this wonderful community we have here at Temple Beth-El. And I think we're past registration for the high holiday services,
Yeah, no, we're good.
are we not?
We can still do it.
We can still register,
Yeah,
so
till
register
midweek.
online if you haven't already. We're keeping track of who's coming, and we are taking not only your name, but also COVID vaccination information, so that we have smooth entry into the sanctuary on the holidays. Our Yizkor Book of Remembrance.
Yeah,
will-
that's
that is
closed.
passed, right? That has closed. It's gone to the printer. Now, greeting our members is a crucial way in which our services run smoothly. Everyone feels valued and welcome, and we create a sacred space for the holidays. So please consider accepting a shift or 2 shifts as an usher for our high holiday services.
Don't have to be a member to usher. Just go online.
Right?
Change
just
your,
have to be able
when
to
you do
greet
the
people.
registration. Yep.
It's a shift is 1 or 2 hours, and you can follow the link in the weekly email. Also in the weekly email and on the website is a holiday playlist created by our High Holy Day cantorial soloist Hadar Ahuvia. So you can listen to some wonderful music that she's prepared for us for the holidays. The Jersey City Educational Fair will be September 24th from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Temple Beth-El is participating. It'll take place in Hamilton Park downtown. Please come and show your Temple Beth-El's spirit, and we'll have a tent, and the Linders will be manning it with all of their children. Oh boy, we'll be well represented. Chilltown Boogie is a historical opera telling the history of Jersey City in 5 stories. It's going to be performed at 5 locations across the city on Sunday, October 2nd. Temple Beth-El is one of the 5 locations. The segment that will be here is called The Choice, 1892. It features a rising star of the Jewish progressive movement, Rabbi Schweitzer, on the importance of building a new temple in Jersey City, which became Temple Beth-El, built in 1926, 96 years ago. The Rabbi Moritz Introduction to Judaism class is a 20-week class. It is a wonderful class, gets great reviews. It starts Wednesday, November 2nd. And will there be a Hebrew class also?
That'll start in December, and that'll be immediately preceding the Introduction to Judaism class. So yes, if you want to learn how to read Hebrew, just let me know, buy the book, and show up in December.
All right, one last thing. We have a food pantry here at Temple Beth-El. It's Thursday nights now. We changed it to Thursday night. It's from about 5:30 to 6:30, where we hand out bags of food to our neighbors who are suffering from food insecurity. It's a wonderful thing to participate in. Doesn't take too much of your time. We need volunteers There are details on the website as to what you can do, or you can just come on a Thursday. We also need donations of money or food. There is a wish list on the website that tells you what kinds of things you could order from Amazon. And they'll be delivered right to past Vice President Mike Novick's house still, I guess, and Karen Seaman Pinn's home in Hoboken.
Are they coming to your place now?
And not to Mike. Aww.
Well, thank you, Karen.
Thank you, Karen. Bring it all the way from Hoboken. Rabbi,
All right.
that's it. It's back to you.
Eshkol. We're going to finish up Ein Kelohenu on page 322. And then more food, of course. Yum pum 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 pa ra 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 ya na 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 ya na 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 ya na 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 ya na 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 ya na 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 Ein Kelohenu Ein Kadonenu Ein Kemalkenu ya na na ya na na ya na 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 ya na 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 Ein Kemoshienu Mi
Kelohenu, mi kadonenu, mi kemalkenu,
Yanana 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 na 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 Yanana na 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 Mi Chemoshienu No del Elohenu No del Adonenu No del Malkenu Yanana 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 na 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 Yana na 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 no de la Moshienu Baruch Eloheinu Baruch Adonenu
Baruch Malkenu, yada yada yada
na 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 Yana na 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 Baruch Moshienu Atahu Eloheinu Atahu Adonenu Atahu Malkenu Yanana 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 na 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 yanana na 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 Tahu Moshienu Yam pam pam pa ya ra 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 Yan tan tan ta ya ra 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 Ya ra 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 Ya na 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 Ya na 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 Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Hamotzi lechem min haaretz Shabbat shalom Shabbat shalom, everybody, but it doesn't touch yours. Everybody's.
All right.